This is a Firefly lander that is scheduled to go in late 2023, early 2024, and it will have the first GNSS receiver to land on the moon in history. So it will process with GPS and Galileo signals. And of course, we don't know if we can process signals that far out. It becomes a very important enabler and something that we're very interested in seeing if we can accomplish that. I'm going to ask my colleagues to advance the charts. Just because my little clicker is not working. Okay, great. So here's a very quick overview of all of the things that NASA uses in terms of GPS or GNSS, right? We are a user of the system. The Space Force in the United States actually acquires and operates it, but we all are very familiar with how we benefit society as a whole, right? Earth sciences, atmospheric studies, monitoring sea level heights, ice melt, and so forth. For launch range operations, we're actually able to save a lot of money because we don't have to have infrastructure in place like radars. We can actually equip the rockets with GPS, and it's much more efficient and cost beneficial. Attitude determination, everyone knows spacecraft use GPS now almost as a standard operating procedure. And even the International Space Station on the US side uses GPS for attitude determination. Real-time onboard navigation. We currently have a heliophysics mission that is halfway to the moon, and we're still able to process 5 or 6 satellites in view. So it is quite an amazing feat to be able to get such a weak signal halfway to the moon. And then time synchronization. Of course, as you build out infrastructure to go to the moon and beyond, it's very important to integrate communications and navigation, and GPS becomes a very important enabler for that. So next chart, please. Here's just a quick snapshot. You know, we always have to show where is the constellation at any particular day. This is a little dated from November, but you can see we have 30 healthy satellites. We have 7 additional satellites just in case we have an issue with one of those healthy satellites. We do have the option to move them back into place so that we have full coverage. And of course, you can see from the bottom, we still maintain a very precise positioning capability, better than a meter. Next chart, please. I think everyone is familiar with this over the years. GPSR stands for replenishment. That's our first GPS satellite with L1CA, of course, acquisition. And then the 2 RMs, replenishment modernize, that added the second signal, L2C, on the military signal. So we had 1227.6 added as a second frequency. On the GPS3 follow-ons, or Fs, we added a third frequency, which is very important because it's aviation safety of life. And then finally, with the GPS3, which we've just begun launching, we're going to have a 4th signal. So that is the same frequency as the L1CA, but it's a little bit better coding and modulation, and it's also fully interoperable with the Galileo signal L1 as well. So next chart, please. So this is a busy chart, but it's important because it really shows the level of management that the United States has over GPS. Those are many departments and agencies that have a stake. They have an equity in how it's managed. And so they meet at the deputy secretary level in the US government. That is 2 levels down from the US president. So part of my job is to make sure that I brief the NASA deputy administrator, the number 2, and then we make proposals in order to modernize the GPS constellation through this forum. Go to the next chart. We not only listen to what government representatives want to do, but we also listen to industry. It's very important to get a commercial perspective, make sure that we're doing things that serves our industry. And so I manage an advisory board. It's 30 people now, and Dr. Brad Parkinson, the father of GPS in his mid-80s, is still very active on this group. And so we think it's a best practice in order to run a whole global constellation to be able to secure input from your industry constituents as well. Next chart, please. Okay, so we talked about NASA being a user. Here we're talking about how NASA helps become a service provider. And again, Space Force runs the system, but we add some things to make it a little bit more resilient, increase the availability. And so, of course, we're all looking for more robustness. And so you'll notice that we're very active in protecting the radio spectrum, but also on GPS 3F or follow-on, which will begin with SV11, we actually have laser retroflectors going on. That's because we want to be able to do laser ranging to the satellites and compare that to the radiometric information. Over time, we can correct for the systematic errors and improve the reference frame, thus making the system more accurate. Oops, a little bit quick. We have search and rescue payloads going on. They're provided by the government of Canada. Everyone's familiar with COSPAS-SARSAT, and COSPAS-SARSAT is transitioning to a MEO, or medium Earth orbit environment, where they don't have search and rescue payloads on a combination of LEOs and GEOs. Just, it takes too much time to try to find someone using that combination, but when we have search and rescue packages on multiple GNSS constellations, is very robust in terms of finding a location of people. Let's go to the next chart. Here's just a little bit more on search and rescue. This is a colleague of mine, Cody Kelly. They are now working on making sure that the astronauts can search and rescue activation on their spacesuits. Right? We don't only think about terrestrial, maritime, and aviation, but if the astronaut is doing a mission in the future and they have a distress event, we need for them to be able to identify that and us to go and be able to secure them quickly. And so this is a new line of work that's going to be very important in the future with armaments. Next. Okay, I'm not going to belabor this. Everyone here is familiar with the International GNSS Service. And so this is, global network. It's managed out of JPL, but it's partnerships with academics. And so what it does is it provides a lot of information that helps make the system more precise. Let's go to the next one. GDGPS, Global Differential GPS. This is a little bit more complex in that it's real time. And what it allows us to do is develop tailored data sets that actually other agencies can pay for. And so that is a expansion of the IGS. Let's go to the next one. This is the one that I wanted to hit. This global network of all these stations is allowing us to know that when we have this volcano in Tonga, it sent out atmospheric waves such that we could look at disturbances and actually start to look at tsunami warning modeling. And so obviously in this part of the world that becomes more and more important. So this is important work. Alison Craddock over at JPL is working on this, and I'm going to try to get her to join us on a few more because I'm sure she's got a lot more to say on this. Next chart. This is just a quick snapshot of how we're moving from maritime and land use and aviation to the space domain. Let's continue. And in this regard, we're actually developing a space service volume, which means you can use GPS out to GEO. How do you do that? You're using energy that spills orbitally the Earth, and you're processing the side lobes. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, interoperable global navigation satellite systems, This is a one-stop shop for mission planners that has every single constellation out there and what its expected performance is. Very important for future mission planners. You can download that book. It's actually printed by the United Nations. Next chart. In order to really see where we're going, this is the Firefly mission that I talked about earlier. Again, we expect to be the first on the moon. It's going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. Everyone cross your fingers on that. And that will open the door for all equipment on the lunar surface to eventually have some GNSS capability. Next chart. This is just simple collaboration with European Space Agency. They have a GNSS receiver. We're putting a retroreflector on. And again, we're comparing the GNSS position with the laser ranging. And of course, we get precision, precise orbit determination. And we're able to link the Earth reference frames to the lunar reference frames and kind of tie it all together for lunar missions. Keep going, please. We stop. Oh, there we go. This is just, I'm coming to the end because I already got the 5-minute flash. National space policy. You cannot do PNT, positioning, navigation, and timing, or the services that GNSS provides in a vacuum. You have to have a whole government approach. So the national space policy is put out by the White House to also protect GPS. Next chart, please. And that has an advisory group too, made of industry representatives. I get an opportunity to work with Buzz Aldrin. He's in his 90s and still going strong. It's just quite phenomenal. And so I actually report to the White House in this particular activity, and it's quite an honor for me. Next chart. This is the last chart. And what it does is it kind of ties it all together. You can develop technology all day long, but unless you have policy support at the highest levels, we used to have Jackson, now we have the Space Policy Unit at the cabinet level in Japan. That's the kind of support we need to get the money and the resources to keep your activities going for the long term. Next chart is simply my contact info. You can always Google. I'm happy to answer questions. And with that, I think I'm right on time. And if we can get my colleague Dominic from the EU, I think that would be wonderful.
Thank you very much, Mr. James. May I also still invite you to be the moderator for the next session? And just a moment, please. Please wait a moment. I'm just asking to arrange the students. While waiting for the venue to be ready,
I'm fine to stay up here. If we can get down here, I appreciate it.
okay.
It's good exercise.
Correct. Okay, now may I invite all the speakers to update about the innovation or innovative news about GNSS system. The first person from GLONASS by Ivan Lipnitsky was Cosmos. The next one, Galileo by Yes, DT Defis. Next from Guaido, Su Li Hu Changchen, Deputy Director of CSNO. Next, QCSS by Kenji, Mr. Kenji Numata. And the last one from IRNSS by Mr. P. Sajes, Deputy Director of SATNAV Program Office, ISRO Headquarters. All the speaker. I guess they are ready.
Okay. Yes.
Good.
All the speakers, are you ready?
Actually, if I'm ready, can anyone hear me?
Okay, Donovan is on. If Ross Cosmos, my colleague from Russia, is able and willing, let's go.
Oh,
ahead.
JJ. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you very much. So let me start. Moment. Yes. Okay, greetings, everyone. So I'm really happy to be here and really happy to see everyone, and really happy, of course, to be a speaker here on Multi-GNSS Asia conference. Thank you very much. So for today, I will, as a representative of Roscosmos State Space Corporation, my name is Ivan Revnivich, and it's a great pleasure to me to make some updates and deliver a presentation on GLONASS status and its prospects of development, of course. So, on next slide. Yes. So the current GLONASS constellation consists of 25 satellites in medium Earth orbits. Most of them are GLONASS M satellites. We have 2 navigation satellites in orbit belong to the more sophisticated GLONASS K batch, and one of them is still on test. So besides 2 GLONASS M satellites are in maintenance. GLONASS constellation provides continuous and global position navigation and timing services as usual and stable. So on the next slide, we'll speak about the services of the GLONASS system. Today, we deliver 4 GLONASS civil navigation services. Any user in almost any region of the world can access the Open Basic service. It's a PNT service provided by GLONASS Space segment. Our augmented service provides corrections, integrity, and anospheric delay corrections formed by the System of Differential Correction Monitoring, SDCM system. So I will speak about it a bit later and give you some more data. The relative navigation service is based on the state-owned regional and the local networks of ground-based augmentation stations. High accuracy service provides users with a point-precise position corrections, and that they are currently transmitted through the ground networks. So for the next slide, our GLONASS development and future plans. To enhance the quality of the navigation of the GLONASS users, the system is under intense and comprehensive modernization. The GLONASS K2 launch campaign is to be started this year. By the year 2030, at least 18 satellites of this batch are planned to be deployed in medium orbits. At the same time, deployment of the high orbit GLONASS will also facilitate improving accuracy in the Eastern Hemisphere and availability in difficult conditions. High orbit GLONASS satellites, as well as new geo-LUCH satellites, will carry payloads to broadcast point-precise position data with new dedicated L3 signal. Besides, the LUCH satellites and several geo-communication satellites will be equipped with payload to broadcast DFMC corrections with L5 GPS signal. All these changes will be accompanied by significant expansion of global Roscosmos measurement station modernization of system for control and performance confirmation to verify the accordance of GLONASS characteristics. Also, with the current edition of the GLONASS Open Service Performance Standard published in 2020, you will get it the best way. So for the GLONASS constellation, and As you can see, the GLONASS K will replenish the constellation of the next 3 years. Soon the L3 code division signal will be operational. By the end of this year, at least 10 GLONASS satellites in orbit will be capable to broadcast it. In the current decade, GLONASS K2 satellites will become the backbone of the GLONASS constellation and will increase accuracy of the GLONASS PNT service with the help of new frequency standard, optical inter-satellite link, and complete set of code division signals. They will also broadcast a legacy L1 L2 frequency division signal for backward compatibility. Speaking about the high orbit GLONASS complex, the deployment of this complex will become a new step for GLONASS performance improvement. The complex will consist of 6 geosynchronous satellites in 3 planes. The first high orbit GLONASS satellite will be launched in 2026. The high orbit GLONASS satellites will be able to broadcast 3 code division signal and point precise positioning correction data through the dedicated L3 SVI signal. Its deployment in 2030 will improve accuracy and availability for the GLONASS basic service in dense urban areas and on a high latitude Arctic region. It will also facilitate expanding the coverage of the GLONASS high accuracy service. For the point precise positioning system, so in turn of the GLONASS high accuracy service, it is demonstrated the descent end user characteristics in 2021. Even in its initial phase, our national system responsible for the service will provide corrections for all GNSS constellations. We are planning to develop it comprehensively during the next 8 years. In particular, we'll upgrade its core technology, expand the network of our measurement stations, and the variety of processed civil signals. The major emphasis of our work will upon the development of a new dedicated broadcast channels. Our new Luch 5M relay satellites will carry payloads to broadcast L3 SVI signal designed for the transmission of point precise positioning data. And also we plan their in-orbit deployment in 2025. As soon as we complete it, users will have almost global access to the GLONASS high accuracy service. New interface of the control document for the L3 SVI signal is now under development and soon will be published as usual on the site of the Russian space system, on the website of the Russian space systems company. So for the next, let's proceed to the current status of the SDCM network and the whole SDCM system. So 53 SDCM measurement stations continually collect and transmit measurement data used for real-time differential correction and ionospheric delay calculation and integrity assessment also. The corrections are formed and uplinked to the GeoLuch relay satellite. Currently, the system is based on S-Bus L1 technology and augments GPS and GLONASS signals. Its certification in accordance with the APV2 is in progress. Tests made in Moscow region they confirmed the compliance. In addition, tests conducted in the beginning of 2022 demonstrated the SDCM corrections for the GLONASS signal to ensure the end user accuracy reaching the half of a meter. So the development of the SDCM and to enhance the end user characteristics of the GLONASS augmented service, the SDCM will be under intense modernization. It will be embrace incorporation of DFMC S-bus technology. Besides, Luch constellation will be completely modernized with 3 Luch L5, 3 Luch 5M satellites that will carry payloads to broadcast the S-bus signal in L1 and L5 broadbands. Additionally, 2 geocommunication satellites will be equipped for the broadcasting corrections. And as a result, at least 2-fold coverage will be guaranteed in the service zone. So speaking about the characteristics improvement, all the mentioned modernizing efforts will serve the major goal that we set, the improvement of the GLONASS characteristics. And as we plan, by the end of this decade, signal and space ranging error of the GLONASS Open Basic Service will reach 30 centimeters. Meanwhile, we plan to achieve the great progress over the current decade in enhancing GLONASS availability in difficult conditions, at high elevation angles of Russia, and the reduction of coverage time for GLONASS high accuracy service. So, and also, as you can see on the next slide, the Russian government is funding various research and development projects as the measure to support the development of the GLONASS civil applications. Some of the projects will utilize Internet of Things technology, and some will engage GLONASS infrastructure. So, and also let me remind you that GLONASS is the Russian operational emergency system designed for alerting about the car accidents, or now it is going to make an alerts for any accident in transport. So inter alia, I would like to draw your attention to research and development project aimed at elaborating new GLONASS receivers and unified chips suitable for meeting the requirements and needs of the users. To this, to the end, these receivers will incorporate advanced technology and solutions. So for today, I think that's all what I was able to say, and thank you very much for your time. Okay.
Okay, so do we have Dominic from the EU on?
We do.
Dominic going twice.
I'm here. Are you hearing me okay, JJ?
We can hear you very well.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm just preparing my slides. Please give me a moment while I put them on the screen. Oh, okay, apparently I have to wait until the other participant has stopped sharing.
Dominic, yes, I hear you. I'm trying to stop it. Just
no problem.
A few seconds. No, probably it's stopped already. Can you try?
Yeah. Okay, looks like I'm able to do that.
Great.
Ivan, just in advance, I want to apologize for what I'm about to do, but it is required of me. So good morning, everyone. My name is Dominic Hayes. I'm hoping that you are seeing my slides on your screen. So EU space, Galileo status. Can you confirm, please?
Yes, it's visible.
Very good, thank you. So given current events, I'm afraid I'm going to have to make a statement at the beginning of my presentation. At the outset, let me express the EU and its member states' full solidarity with Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. The EU condemns in the strongest possible terms Russia's unprovoked and unjustified military aggression against Ukraine, which grossly violates international law and the UN Charter and undermines international security and stability. The EU demands that Russia immediately ceases its military actions, withdraws all its troops from the entire region of Ukraine, and fully respects Ukraine's territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence within its internationally recognized borders. The EU resolutely supports Ukraine's inherent right of self-defense and the Ukrainian armed forces' efforts to defend Ukraine's territorial integrity and population in accordance with Article 51 of the UN Charter. At all times, Russia must respect its responsibilities under international humanitarian law. Russia also needs to stop its disinformation campaign and cyber attacks. Thank you for allowing me that statement. So I'm now going to talk about the Galileo system. The highlights since the last MGA meeting. In fact, this presentation was given yesterday at the Munich summit, which is why some of the language, as you can see there, mentions the word summit. So I apologize if some of you attending the summit may have heard this presentation already, but I hope it's new to most of you. So for services, we are delivering outstanding performance despite the COVID-19 pandemic. We are planning to update the PRS service, and we are about to publish a new open service service definition document, and it's an update of that document. For the OS NMA, for those that know the acronym or initialism, Open Service Navigation Message Authentication. This will be the first authentication test signal provided by a GNSS system. It's been in public observation phase since November last year. We're also about to launch the high accuracy service, and it will be the first broadcast of a high accuracy service signal in space from a global system. With internally testing, we've got very promising results so far. We've declared the SAR return link service in full operational capability, and also we've got the SGS MEOLITS and IOC initial operation and full operational capability for our MEOLITS, which is part of the search and rescue service. For the operational infrastructure, we launched 2 satellites at the end of 2021. They're currently still going through their test phase. We have new stations for the ground sensor network, one on Wallis Island, one on in Kourou, and we have a new SAR MEOLIT covering the Indian Ocean on La Réunion Island. And we have a qualification of an extended navigation mode, as well as increased cyber protection capability, and the operations and maintenance are now fully under the control of the EU Agency for the Space Programme, otherwise known as EUSPA. So on the governance side, that's the kind of day-to-day management and oversight of the programme. We have entry into force of the new EU space regulation, which gives increased competencies to EUSPA. We now have a 7-year financial framework partnership agreement between the European Commission, EUSPA, and the European Space Agency. The European Space Agency, in case you weren't aware, is the agency It's not a European Union agency, but it's nonetheless a European agency devoted to space that is providing the prime contractor role for development and operations of the Galileo system. EUSPA's role as a system prime will be developed in the coming years. ESA will continue its role as still system prime, development prime, and the design authority. We have now established a new joint office at the European Commission that will integrate teams from EUSPA and ESA, as well as the European Commission. We have a new EU directive on intelligent transport systems, and it's the first market regulation that requires compatibility and authentication with the mechanisms provided by the Galileo Open Service. Also, allied to that is the Emergency 112 service, and as of March this year, all smartphones that you buy in the European market will be required to have the capabilities to use Galileo signals to provide an emergency 112 service to the emergency services. On the development side, we are actively pursuing dual source capability for our second generation satellites. We've already signed contracts for at least 12 of the satellites. We have launched the contracts for the second generation ground segments, as well as prepared new sites for ground sensor stations in a number of different locations, as well as for the TT&C. We're planning to consolidate our launches over the next year or so. We are deploying the iNav on the first set of satellites. And iNav is the signal upgrade to the Galileo signal. Some of you may know that we did have the plan to have an integrity service on Galileo, and that required a big chunk of the data or the big chunk of the message on the signal to be providing integrity data. However, that was repurposed a number of years ago, and so there was a spare capacity available on the Galileo signal. We've now repurposed that message structure. We call it our iNav message, and that gives additional performance to the Galileo signal. So that if you use this new message structure, it's fully backward compatible. So even if you don't use the new message structure, you will be able to continue to use the Galileo signal as you did before. But if your receiver can understand this new iNav message structure, you will be able to get enhanced performance. We are continuing to evolve the G1G operational infrastructure. That's the first generation of Galileo, and as well as to introduce timely delivery of new services such as the high accuracy service and the OS NMA. We also want to conclude the procurements for the second generation of satellites, as well as to improve the response time of the Galileo Reference Center. This is a center in the Netherlands that monitors constantly the Galileo signal performance and acts as an independent reference for users to go and check the quality of the Galileo signals. As well as in the future, that will be also used to monitor the quality of other GNSS systems. And we will continue the preparations for EUSPA to take on more of a role as a system prime of the system, of the operation of the system, if you like. So not the development of the system, more of the operations. So in terms of the performance, we're actually achieving very good performance. On the timing side, we're now achieving timing accuracy down to below 5 nanoseconds, both for the system time, Galileo system time compared to UTC, as well as the GPS Galileo timing offset, both around 5 or below 5 nanoseconds. For ranging performance for the satellites, without our best ever performance, from December last year, we had an overall constellation average ranging performance from the satellites of 15 centimeters. So this is not the accuracy you will get from a position fix, but it's the ranging accuracy from a satellite to a nominal position, a nominal reference site on the Earth. So 15 centimeters is quite some achievement. We're very proud of that number. This shows you a little bit more detail in comparison to some of the other systems, and showing you that we have very good performance compared to the other systems. And now a little bit about the OS NMA. So OS NMA is a free-to-use service. As you may know, your user positioning that you get in your receiver is based both on the satellite ranging, but also the navigation message contained within the satellite navigation signal. OS NMA gives you some reassurance that the received navigation that you are getting from a Galileo signal is actually from a Galileo satellite and not from a spoofer. So it's the first signal of its type that offers some kind of authentication for a GNSS system. And that's now going to be provided worldwide from the Galileo satellites. So we've just concluded a 7-month internal test campaign. Performance has been very good. Availability has also been very good. So it's not, at the moment, it's just covering Europe. You can see on that graphic there, the red splodge over Europe. That's where service is aimed at the moment. But eventually that will roll out globally as we develop the ground infrastructure. We just published an info note for the OSNMA, and we invite you to read that. We've just come through a public observation phase, or just launched a public observation phase for the global receiver manufacturers. So that means manufacturers out there can go and read the info note. They'll be able to develop hardware to understand the OSNMA message, and they'll be able to provide comments on how that OSNMA is being received and decoded in their particular receiver. They can then feed that back to us to allow us to maybe fine-tune, if needed, the OSNMA service delivery. The high accuracy service, another service we're very excited about. This is being transmitted in the Galileo E6 signal, which is our third frequency used by Galileo. The standard OS of Galileo provides meter level accuracy. So you'll get with your smartphone, you'll get an accuracy of around 1 meter. But if you include the high accuracy service, that will take your receiver, maybe not a smartphone, but currently it will be a dedicated receiver that is picking up all 3 frequencies. Maybe in future that will be in smartphones, we don't know. But if you are picking up the E6 signal, you'll be able to get accuracies down to decimeter level. That's of the order of 10 to 20 centimeters. So we've had a number of internal program test campaigns in the last year or so. As I said, we've published the information note, not just for the OSNMA, but also now for the high accuracy service. We've had some signal in space testing. We've now broadcast the first ever test broadcast of a high accuracy service signal. That was in May last year. We've had very promising results from that test, with decimeter level accuracy relatively easily achieved from what I can see. We've involved key stakeholders from within EU companies, and also through some of the USPA funded projects. We've had some involvement there from other companies. We plan to launch or publish in the short term an ICD for the signal in space. So you'll soon be able to start designing receivers that can take full advantage of this new high accuracy service. So I did mention at the beginning the search and rescue service, another service that we're very proud of. It's been phenomenally successful, relatively small investment compared to the overall program. But for that relatively small investment, we've seen a big return. In terms of lives saved, for example, we know that 2,278 people have been saved by using the Galileo search and rescue service. The Galileo SAR was definitely involved in their life preservation as part of the COSPA SARSAT system, that global system that's been running for many years, of which now Galileo SAR is providing the predominantly overwhelming best performance for that system. I know other systems also plan to introduce a search and rescue component.
You're making me a very bad moderator. Let's roll it up. Thank you.
Sorry, is that you, JJ? Sorry, I can just hear someone in the background. Am I running out of time? Yeah, so we have 5 services now. The open service, it's a free and open positioning and navigation signal provided on 3 frequencies. We're planning to introduce the emergency warning service in the up and coming years. We have the public regulated service that will provide encrypted and more robust and unlimited and uninterrupted access for governmental users. We have the search and rescue service, which will provide a forward link and an acknowledgement return link for users with a COSPA SARSAT capable emergency beacon. We also have the high accuracy service, and authentication services will also be introduced on E6 in the coming years, as well as the safety of life contribution, which will be introduced for use by aviation and other safety of life services. A little bit about the constellation. So we have 3 planes, plus the anomalous plane, the L3 plane, with 2 satellites that are not in the correct orbit. Nonetheless, that they can provide very good navigation signals to users who are able to decode them. Same navigation signals, the orbits are slightly different, so they don't provide the ephemeris directly. But if you can get that from an assistance network, maybe through your smartphone, then you can still use the satellites. So we now have 28 satellites in orbit. 22 of them are usable for navigation. 24 of them are available for search and rescue. In the coming weeks, actually, we are bringing online the 2 satellites that we launched late last year. So that will bring the number of navigation signals up to 24. Very close to our full operational capability. And for the ground segment, we have a number of ground segment facilities located throughout Europe. Just listed them there for your information. And if you haven't already determined whether your device is Galileo capable, there's a website there that you can go to, usegalileo.eu. Where you can find out whether your device is Galileo capable. As of a few days ago, there was more than 2.5 million devices now that are Galileo capable. So there's a good chance that your smartphone is able to receive Galileo signals. That website there, uspa.europa.eu, has a lot of information about the Galileo system. You can download a number of documents there. Particularly maybe of interest to you is the technical report, GNSS technical report, as well as the market report that was released, I think, last year. So some good reading there for you to look at. That concludes my presentation, and I hope it was useful for you. Thank you.
Thank you. The Thai police are now taking me away because you went way over, but it was a very interesting and entertaining presentation once again as always, so thank you very much. Okay, so is our Chinese colleague available?
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Li Zhuhu from CSNO. Today, on behalf of BDS, we are very delighted to attend this meeting virtually. Next, I'm going to present the latest development of BDS-3. This is the commission on the completion, and the topic is video navigation satellite system development. The presentation consists of 4 parts: system status, application promotion, international cooperation, and future plans. The first part is system status. On July 31st, 2020, Chinese President Xi Jinping announced the completion and the commissioning of BDS-3. Since then, BDS has been continuously promoting service quality, expanding applications, and deepening cooperation to promote continuous, stable, and rapid development of the system. And currently, BDS is mainly comprised of 3 segments: a space segment, a ground segment, and the user segment. And up to now, BDS-3 constellation consists of 3 GEO satellites, 3 RGSO satellites, and 24 MEO satellites. The ground segment consists of various ground stations, including master control station, time synchronization application stations, monitoring stations, etc. The BDS user segment consists of various kinds of the BDS terminals. In terms of service, BDS provides services of seven types, literally PNT, global short message communication, search and rescue, which are provided for global users, and satellite-based augmentation system, ground augmentation system, precise point positioning, and regional short message communication, which are provided in China and its surrounding areas. The first one is the PNT. BDS service performance meet the design requirements. In terms of system service performance indicator, the horizontal positioning accuracy is better than 2.5 meters, and vertical positioning accuracy is better than 5 meters, and the signal availability is better than 99%. The velocity measurement accuracy is better than 0.2 meter per second, and the timing accuracy is better than 20 nanoseconds. Specifically, from the above pictures, we can see most of the satellites of BDS operate normally in orbit, and the PDOP of BDS is no more than 4 in most areas. And in this slide, we can see the minimum ground received power of signal compose meet the stands. In terms of accuracy, the orbit accuracy of a broadcast ephemeris of BDS-3 is within 0.5 meter. The clock accuracy of a broadcast ephemeris of BDS-3 is also less than 5 nanoseconds. In the BDS coordination reference framework and the stability of BDT, the difference between BDSS and RTF 2014 is usually within 3 centimeters, and the time deviation between BDT and UTC is usually within 13 nanoseconds. The second one is BDS short message communication service, a functional component of BDS. For the global short message, the service compatibility is 14 Chinese characters per message, and the trial operation and service has been available for authorized users on the LU satellites. The third service is search and rescue. In specific, 6 MU and SAR payloads have been equipped on satellites. With an orbit test finished and the results meet the standards, BDS SAR has passed the approval technically by COSPAS. The next one is satellite-based augmentation service. For now, Civil Aviation Administration of China is conducting aviation application verification and assessment. Performances including accuracy, warning time, and integrity. The next one is ground-based augmentation service. For now, the system utilizes mobile communication networks or the internet to provide users within the coverage area of reference station network. With high precision positioning services at centimeter and millimeter levels applied for Chinese industry and public users. Next, the precise point positioning service, also PPP. Nowadays, BDS uses 3 GEO satellites to serve users in China and its surrounding areas. With the precise position service accuracy better than 30 centimeters horizontally and 60 centimeters vertically. The commander's time is better than 20 minutes. Lastly, for the regional short message communication, the emergency communication service has been available in China and its surrounding area. The service capacity can reach 1,000 Chinese characters per message, and accessibility reach 10 million times per hour. And in this slide, you can see the difference in coverage and components of different segments. The second part of my presentation is application promotion. Firstly, an impressive result has been made in BDS basic products. Currently, BDS has made breakthroughs in key technologies of basic products such as chips, modules, balls, and antennas, with performance and techniques greatly improved. The cost performance is as equivalent as that of foreign mainstream brand. We are building up a BDS authentication assessment system, and we are also going to release the authenticated BDS basic products list. BDS has also entered into mass market, sharing economy, and people's livelihood. BDS is becoming the standard configuration of positioning function in smartphone, wearable devices. In 2021, 72.3% smartphone sold in China supported the BDS positioning function, with famous brands such as Apple, Samsung, Huawei included. As BDS and the 5th generation technology mutually develop, yet the integration of platform, data, technology, and terminal has become a new norm for BDS to comply with as new technologies. New application modes and forms are emerging, which injects new vitality and driving forces into economic and social development, and empowers industries to upgrade. BDS-based products have been exported to and used in more than half countries and regions in the world. In Thailand, BDS facilitates Thailand Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment to build ground-based augmentation system. The application of BDS-GNSS high accuracy receivers helps the national material inventory in Thailand and in Indonesia. BDS supported the laser radar aerial measurement system was used in larger area. Topographic mapping in the building of Indonesia's new capital. In deformation monitoring, confronted with the threat of the potential natural disaster in Syria in Tajikistan, China and Tajikistan utilized the BDS to undertake the continuous real-time millimeter level deformation monitoring and disaster warning in surrounding area, providing important scientific and technological reference for the safety of the dam. For the overseas applications, BDS has been widely used in Asia, Southern Asia, Pacific Rim, and Africa in land ownership confirmation, precise agriculture, intelligent port management, etc., promoting local economic and social development and making the satellite navigation achievements well shared. The third part is international cooperation. Based on the principle of openness and cooperation, resources sharing, China actively participated in programs and activities under United Nations framework to promote GNSS compatibility and interoperability, and held education and training activities in Asia Pacific regions based on United Nations Education and Training Center. Satellite navigation is also becoming one of the most famous authorized magazines, which is expected to promote the development of the satellite navigation industry. BDS also concentrates on bilateral cooperation in compatibility and interoperability. In China-Russia bilateral cooperation, cooperation in joint test, station construction, and precision agriculture were carried out, and the China-Russia Satellite Navigation Key Strategic Cooperation Project Committee framework, and also foster the cooperation in compatibility and interoperability, space, and civil user industries with the US. At the end of 2020 and 2021, CSO signed MOU with Argentina and South Africa to carry out cooperation task and assessment, education and training on other fields to promote the application of BDS locally. In 2021, we held the third China Arab States BDS Cooperation Forum, the second China Central Asia BDS Cooperation Forum, the first China Africa BDS Cooperation Forum, and Expo 2020 Dubai Beidou Showcase activity, promoted the joint discussion, construction, and sharing with the Belt and Road countries and the whole world. In the international standards ratification, BDS continuously participates in the standard systems by relevant international organizations such as IEC, RTCM, IMO, ICO, and so on. Since China Satellite Navigation Conference was held for the first time in 2010, the annual event has gradually developed into a larger scale communication platform with nearly 3,000 participants every year, integrating the BDS development in all dimensions, and it is a play on active role in international satellite navigation science and technology promotion. The 13th CSNC is going to be held in Beijing in May, with BDS-GNSS high-level international cooperation partnership summit hosted in the same period, and we warmly welcome you to participate. The last part is future plans. In the future, we will launch backup satellites with better performances according to our demand to upgrade the availability of our constellation. And efforts will be done in competencies focus, industrial structure, reconstruction, and various abilities fusion. By 2035, China will build a more ubiquitous, more integrated, and more intelligent national integrated PNT service system. We will also adhere to the development concept of China's BDS, world's BDS, first-class BDS, continuously promoting BDS development and giving more contributions to the social development and the construction of the community with a shared future for mankind. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you. Thanks for your continuous attention and support to the BDS development. Thank you.
Very much. Okay, apologies, we are running a little late, but if we have to give up a little bit of our break, we will do that. So I believe our Japanese colleague is next.
Yes. Can you see my presentation, and can you hear my voice?
Yes, very clear.
Thank you. So I'd like to start my presentation. Good evening and good morning. I'm Kenji Numata from the Cabinet Office, Government of Japan. Thank you. At first, I'd like to express my gratitude to all of you for participating and preparing in this meeting. And as you know, our GNSS is one of the most important social infrastructures that are indispensable for our daily life. So I'm very honored to have this opportunity to speak at this conference. Oh, okay. So my slide consists of 4 items. Okay. The first, this page shows the basic concept of our QGSS. We have now 4 satellites available to service. Our current system is aimed at improving positioning accuracy by complementing the GPS signals. Currently, we can also provide the augmentation service and messaging service for domestic. The position of so we oh, sorry. So these picture for our satellite and our control centers. we have Hitachi Ota is we have two control centers for our systems. Hitachi Ota is main operations side, and Kobe is a redundant side. And we have 7 TTC substations and over 30 monitor stations around the world. This page shows the location of the ground system. And all stations have been built and set for operation by the end of 2016. This picture shows our launch of our new satellite called QGS-1R. So our new satellite was launched last October, and we are planning to start its service by the end of March. So far, everything is going well. And this slide I would like to explain some of our future plans. We are now 4th satellite constellation, and we are aiming to have the 7th satellite constellation by the year of 2023. We are currently developing 3 new satellites and upgrading the ground system for them. When we have the 7th satellite constellation, we will provide other 3 services, the message authentication, Madoka PPP, and EWS. So the 3 additional satellites will be placed on an inclined GSO and QGSO. By adding the 3 satellites, we can achieve the visibility at high elevation angles, visibility of satellites, and improving the DOP, dilution of precision. So this figure shows our new system. The largest feature of the added 3 satellites is to have ranging functions between satellites and between a satellite and a ground station. To improve the accuracy of user positioning, it is necessary to estimate the orbit and the timing of each satellite more accurately. In order to improve these, the 3 new satellites will be equipped with ranging capabilities, and more ground stations are under construction. This is navigation message authentication. Currently, the use of GNSS is getting more widespread. So there are increasing concerns about interference, such as jamming and spoofing. Therefore, we are developing the signal authentication function for QGSS by 2023, which will be used electronic signature technologies to prove that our signal is authentic. We have to increase the reliability of positioning and timing information by using this technology, and it will contribute to a variety of use cases, such as automobiles and financial systems. This page is Madoka PPP. Madoka stands for Multi-GNSS Advanced Orbit and Clock Augmentation. The operational service of Madoka PPP using the same delivery format as CIRAS. CIRAS is our domestic service. for precise positioning will start no later than 2024. And the Japanese GNSS monitoring station network, multi-GNSS integrated real-time and achieved information system we call Mirai, will start from April this year. With the cooperation of Thailand, we also would like to connect Thailand's monitor stations to Mirai, as well as Australia. This is the emergency service, EWS. We have distributed disaster information since 2018 by using QGSS for domestic service. While we are also planning to start on-site demonstrations of disaster information in Australia and Southeast Asia countries after 2022. And based on these results, we would like to expand the use of EWS by QGSS in these regions after 2025. We were considering that Australia, Fiji, and Thailand are an indispensable area for our demonstration. So we would like to appreciate it if Thailand could support our demonstration. And this is the final slide of my presentation. In addition to the achieved activities described so far, we have started to study our future plans of our system and required R&D, research and development items since last year. The target year for this plan, when the ends of life of our existing on-orbit satellite 2, 3, and 4 will be, so we will start development prototype models for future satellites from this April. And this is a summary page. So QGSS is Japanese regional navigation satellite system to improve not only GNSS availability, but also accuracy and reliability. Latest launch for QGS-1R was successfully done, and we are planning to service at the end of this month. Future expansion to 7 satellites constellation started procurement processes for additional 3 satellites around 2023. Madoka PPP will become operational services no later than 2024. And EWS will intend to launch its service in domestic and overseas. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you for your listening. Thank you again.
Very, very much. Very interesting. And now to bring it home, our Indian representative, we look forward to hearing this.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Yeah. So I'm Sajid here. So I would like to project my presentation. Yeah, let me just try.
Sorry, too late.
Yeah, time is less. I'll try to squeeze it within the time frame. So is it my presentation visible? And is it my voice audible? Hello? Is it I'm audible?
I can hear you and I can see your slides.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Sajid from SatNav Program Office of ISRO, and I'm very happy and thank you for this opportunity to represent NAVIC here in this conference. And here I am giving just glimpse of what is the NAVIC system updates and its applications. So NAVIC stands for Navigation with Indian Constellation. Our space segment consists of 7 satellites, 3 in GSO and 4 in IGSO. And our ground segment consists of 2 navigation centers, and which is redundant in nature, and 4 IRIMS, ranging station, one-way ranging stations, 17 are there all over India, and 2-way ranging stations, CDMA ranging stations are 4, and network timing centers are 2, and spacecraft control centers are 2. And we are operating broadcasting signals in L5 and S, and in future we are planning for L1. And we have 2 services for civilian use and restricted use. And this is our constellation status. We started launching our satellites starting from 2013, and our last launch is in 2018. Our constellation locations are there in this slide. It's 7 satellites constellation with 3 in GSO. You can see 32, 83, and 129. The other one, GSOs are 55, 8, and 111.75 with the inclination of 29 degrees. And geo satellites also have an inclination of 4 degrees. And this is our coverage area. And NAVIC being a regional constellation, its service is mainly on Indian mainland and 1,500 kilometers beyond the boundary. And our system accuracies as system specification is mentioned here as less than 20 meters and timing less than 50 nanosecond in 2 sigma. But we are getting much better performance in service. And this is the main navigation signal in space ICD, which is available in our website, where it gives the for the receiver to make their receivers with the NAVIC enabled. And there are quarterly performance report also available in our website. And in future, we are going to release a new L1 civilian signal. It will be available soon by 1 month now. That's why we are expecting. And these are our NAVIC system updates. And we are planning to launch a NAVIC system advisory where you may be able to know about these satellite planned actions, and as well as the status of the satellites, which helps for the users to go back and trace any issues in there. They can compare with the results where more on scientific community is concerned. And we are planning for 5 satellites over the next few years, starting from the mid of the 2022. There are NVS 01, 02, 03, 04, and 05. And for continuity of service with the following new features, we are introducing L1 in these satellites, upcoming satellites, and it's having an indigenous novel ranging code in L1 band, and in-house developed space-grade atomic clocks also will be on board in these satellites. And with this, we have three signals will be broadcasting: L5, S, and L1. And more about NAVIC L1 signal, it's interoperable with other modernized GNSS signals, and modulation is NAVIC SBOC 6,1,1/11, and power spectral density is MBOC 6,1,1/11. And its channel coding is NAVIC BCH and LDPC, and PRN code is interleaved set for linear codes, which is the first time being used by NAVIC. And data structure is similar, skeleton to GPS L1C, and we will be launching this ICD soon. And on the NAVIC applications, if you see, most of the areas NAVIC is enabled now in the location-based solutions like mobile phones and VLTs and personal trackers, and messaging services for safety of life applications, and the timing solutions are used for power grid and railways applications. And so now NAVIC is on for this geodesy and atmospheric monitoring applications for scientific research and accuracy applications also. Now NAVIC is being enabled, and being ongoing process is going on for using these type of applications and PPP and RTK. And these are some of the few off-the-shelf standalone GNSS chips which supports NAVIC. These are Telit, Alistair, Quiptel, Skytrack, and Broadcom and Utrack. They are supporting their manufacturing chips which supports NAVIC. And this is one of the application what we are using right now in commercial vehicles in India. All are equipped with NAVIC enabled vehicle tracking devices. More than lakhs of devices, vehicle tracking systems are being used nowadays with the NAVIC enabled systems, which supports in emergency conditions. And the NAVIC is being used for giving the position to the control center, where they will give the support for helping the commercial vehicle when they are in danger. So this is one of the application which is being widely utilized in India. And there is one more safety of life alerts we are sending through NAVIC, which is being used by the fisherman community during these high wave, cyclone, and tsunami alerts are being transmitted through these messages, as well as potential fishing zones and international boundary crossing information also being passed to the fishermen for an alert. This is just a broadcasting message type, which is also being used widely in India. And the another one is the one more application is the district alert transmitter, second generation, where we are utilizing the NAVIC for giving the acknowledgement to the community who are in danger, and gives the information, acknowledgement information through the NAVIC. And the other part, which is the alert, which is going through the UHF transmitter through INSAT satellite. This is also a typical example of using NAVIC. And this document for implementing this messaging service is available in the ISRO website. Any receiver can be used use of this document to implement this in their requirement, as per their requirements. And there are most of the mobile phone now available, mobile phone chipsets available in the market is enabled with NAVIC. A few of them are listed below. This is Qualcomm, MediaTek, and Huawei, and Samsung are come up with the NAVIC enabled mobile chipsets. And these are a few of the mobiles which is available right now in the market with NAVIC enabled mobile phones. A lot more are in the stock, and which is coming up in future. And NAVIC in standards, and as you are aware, by 2020, International Maritime Organization has recognized NAVIC as a component of worldwide radio navigation system in ocean waters. And now we are developing that standard through IEC. And NAVIC has been incorporated in the latest National Marine Electronic Association of 083 standard. And NAVIC has become a part of the latest specification of 3GPP for assisted global navigation satellite system, which helps in reducing the TTTF while using the position solution. And also NAVIC L5 has been included in the latest release of Radio Technical Commission for Maritime Services in our TCM 10403.3 standard, which enables NAVIC for using DGNSS application, differential global navigation systems application. So in S-band as well, its work is going on in near future. By probably by June, this RTCM standard will be released for S-band as well. And TED committee has under BIS in Indian Bureau of Indian Standards has recently released standards for agriculture drones, which includes NAVIC for position computation. These are the work which we are doing to enable NAVIC by bringing them in the standards, whatever possible solutions. So this is the end of my presentation. Hope I didn't took much time right now, and thank you for your patience listening.
I want to say thank you to all of our presenters, and then of course to our audience. I did want to close on one note. one common theme that brings us all together. Everyone that you heard present today, we all work together in the International Committee on Global Navigation Satellite Systems. So it's a UN forum. It's under COPUIS, Committee on Peaceful Use for Outer Space. And we have found it's just the most optimal multilateral forum to ensure interoperability, compatibility, looking at different services that we can all work together. I know within the last several years, you've heard from India, you've heard from China, you've heard from Japan being part of this, but recently Korea, Vietnam. As soon as I get back to the US, I'll be briefing Vietnam. They have an interest. Australia. So if there are Thai government representatives here, I would really recommend that you at least give it a try. Most of our nations are part of the International Telecommunications Union. We go to the World Radio Conference. GNSS is not going to go away, right? It's just going to get more and more integrated into our infrastructure. And so in order for you to stay really plugged in, I really want to recommend that you attempt to participate. You can go as an observer. And the next meeting is the second week of June in Vienna, Austria, at the UN facilities there. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I know we don't have time for questions, but you know how to reach all the speakers if we have particular questions. And I just want to thank you. It was an honor for me to present to you today. Bye-bye. Thank you.